Welcome to another edition of Talking Sports and Fitness with Zeke. I am Zeke, sometimes known as Mike Zielinski. Welcome. Just a couple quick things. Please like us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to the People Chronicles channel on YouTube. My guest today is head coach Larry Courville of the Reading Royals. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you very much.
When you and I last spoke, you had a lot of question marks. Your season was just opening up. You had so many new faces. They needed to wear ID tags in the locker room. Now here you are, 8-4, and you're having a really nice season. Your defense is solid and deep. You have a high-scoring team. You have a great shutdown line, good goalkeeping. How have you done this?
Well, so far it's been pretty good. Obviously, you know, when you have a bunch of new players and coming in from year to year, you never know how it's going to work out for your team. So we've been very happy. We set a goal at the beginning of the year. We usually do 10-game segments, but with having 72 games, our first segment was 12 games, and we wanted to go 8-4, and we achieved that in our first segment. So so far things are clicking right now, both offensively and defensively. Looking at the stats, we were the second best team scoring goals and the second team defending goals against. So, and obviously our record's been pretty good. So hopefully that will continue for the rest of the season here.
Now you've had a lot of kind of one-sided games, kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, as of late, they've been a little closer to the games.
And you were happy about that because sometimes it's good to play under pressure.
Well, for sure. So you want your team to perform when it's under, like you said, when it's a 1-goal game or a 2-goal game. You see how they react. But a lot of our games, to be honest, have been kind of blowouts. Either we've won a lot of games where it's been 6-0 or 5-1. But we also played some really bad games, like our home opener. We lost, I believe, 7-3. So when we're really good, we're really good. When we're really bad, we're bad.
I remember reading that you almost walked off.
Yeah, I felt, one of those games when especially your home opener, when you have a sold-out crowd, you want to perform really well for your fans. But it wasn't very pretty. It was one of those games where, as a coach, you just want to kind of walk off the bench.
Now, you have a good team. They're performing well most of the time. But as a coach, the disparity in performance, where you have the highs and the lows, maybe a little extreme at times. I mean, how do you deal with that, and how do you change that?
Well, basically, how I deal with it is basically, I show lots of video and show the guys our mistakes and what we need to be, what we need to do better. We talk about consistency, we talk about our practice habits, little things that way to make us improve. So, so far it's been good. Hopefully we'll just get better now as a team.
How the chemistry has developed pretty well, right? Quicker than you may have imagined.
Yeah, initially my teams are notorious for having slow starts. We started that way, and as of late, things have gone pretty well for us, and seems like the guys are meshing well together. And hopefully, with guys coming, we've lost several guys too to our lineup. Yeah, it seems like we've picked up some guys that's helped us.
I think there's a turnstile in your locker room every year.
Well, it seems like every day.
That's the nature of ECHL.
Well, yeah, it seems like every day. We lost 2 goalies here in the last 2 days. So
you lost 2 goalies?
Our 2 goalies. We brought in a couple of guys that are not as well known in our league, but we'll see what happens here in the next couple of days.
Because we have a subsequent show coming up, and we'll talk about player development, things like that. But you're also here to win, so you kind of bridge things like that. So with the new goalies,
yeah.
Our last show was a soccer show, with the 2 new goalies, because obviously they have to interact with your defensemen and things like that. How long does it take to develop?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes it takes all year. So who knows? Sometimes it's quicker than others. We try to communicate on the ice as much as possible, and it really helps when our defense and our forwards communicate with the goalie and let them know certain scenarios. Obviously, we'll show them video, so they should expect certain areas of the puck to be in certain times of the game. So, the goalie's there to stop pucks. That's the main focus, so hopefully they'll do a good job for us here.
Talk a little bit about your defenders. You're really deep there, and you have, I guess one of your guys is your leading scorer, who has a tremendous slap shot, correct?
Yeah, Adam Comrie, he's a gentleman. I believe he's leading the league in all defensemen in scoring right now. We've had for the last 3 years, up and down. Most times, he's played for us and been called up to the American League for several amount of games. This year he hasn't gone up yet. He's on an ECHL contract with the Flyers in Lehigh Valley. So we're fortunate to have him at this time. And if he continues to play like the way he's doing, I expect him to get called up eventually. He's got a great shot. He's a great player offensively, obviously. And now we've put him in a situation where he's actually a great defense for us defensively also. He's on the penalty kill. He's on the ice last minute of the game if the game's tight. So he's done a really good job. We have a number of defensemen that are doing very well. Like Lamarche was with us last year.
And he's your captain. He's probably, some people think he might be your best player last year.
He was probably our best consistent defenseman last year on both sides of the puck, offensively and defensively. He's strong, he competes well, he skates the puck well, he moves it well. So we have a number of guys. We picked up Kevin Young on a trade to try to solidify our defense. We felt like we needed another guy. Jordan Haywood had a great rookie year last year. Todd Perry played for me 5 years ago, who's come back and done very well for us defensively. So there's a number of guys. I'm sure I'm missing some guys here, not only on defense, on forwards that we can talk about. Everyone's really playing well right now, and we're looking to continue that success.
And with your forwards, I understand your philosophy is you have two scoring lines, and then you have a shutdown line. And your shutdown line has really played very well, and that's a big reason why your goals against are so low.
For sure, that's the way I like to do things. Other coaches do some things a little different. I like to have two lines that are there more to produce offensively, but also have to play well defensively. But I also like to have my role guys as a shutdown line, like you said. They usually play, especially at home. On the road, it's a little tougher to get your matchup, but at home, we try to get them against their other team's best line offensively so they can shut them down, and they've done an excellent job so far.
How prevalent is that philosophy? You're saying not everybody does it, obviously, but would you say that's more common than uncommon?
I would say, as coaches, I think we're all looking for different mixes and different roles to bring to a team, and I think you need a combination of offense and also great defensive players and to be successful. And we won a championship a few years ago with that kind of model, and we're looking to repeat and do that again. So I think you just can't have an offensive team or a great defensive team, because maybe you're lacking defensively if you have a great offensive team. Maybe if you're a great defensive team, you're lacking the offense and you can't score goals. So I really believe there has to have a mixture. That's why it's a team sport. It's not just one guy who, like in baseball where you got the pitcher that basically can steal a game.
Right.
Really, you need your 18 guys for us.
So as the season goes on, and obviously as we tape, it's only November, mid-November, you're going to have a lot more flux in your roster as well. So is it difficult to project where you're going to be at?
It's always difficult.
Yeah.
It's always a roller coaster as a coach, trying to make sure that you have enough players to perform every night. You're resting the guys. There's injuries. There's call-ups. I don't know how many over the years. There's been times where we've used 60 players. There's been times where we used 30. It depends on the year. Obviously, it depends on the trickle effect with the Flyers and Lehigh Valley and their injuries they have.
Right.
The trades that they possibly make. Goaltending is a huge issue all the time, with making sure that you have good enough goaltending every night to win hockey games.
So it's probably harder to be a coach at this level than it is at the higher levels, just because of the roster changes.
That's what I've been told. Obviously, I haven't coached at the American League and the NHL yet, but to manage the roster situation and to manage sometimes apartments and other things off the ice that other coaches don't do, obviously recruiting, all that kind of stuff comes into play.
We're going to get into that in a subsequent show, but whatever you're doing a heck of a job. You've made the playoffs all 6 seasons you've been the head coach of the Royals, full seasons, and I believe the last 3 years you've had 45 win plus seasons, and you alluded, I guess the Kelly Cup was 2013, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal. One of my goals I set this year is try to achieve more than 46 wins. That's been our best year, and you always, as a coach and as players, always set goals for themselves, and that'd be a goal for us to hopefully get also 100 points. I don't think we've ever had a 100-point season, so that's a goal that I set, and then my third goal obviously is winning the championship again.
You're second place at this point. Who do you see? Of course, their rosters will change too, but who are the top threats for you from winning division?
Well, we haven't seen a whole lot of teams right now, but our division, Adirondack looks like right now they're in first. They're 2 points ahead of us. We haven't seen them. I know they're well coached. Kel McLean actually played in Reading before, coached in South Carolina, coached in the American League. I have a lot of respect for Kel, and I'm sure he's done a really good job with his players. So until I see them, the teams that I've seen on paper that are looking strong, obviously Florida is always a team that's right now at the top of the league. Toledo usually has a pretty good team, even though they're only about 500 right now. Fort Wayne is struggling because of some of the injuries and call-ups that they've had. So it's still early. So we haven't seen a whole bunch of teams, but by the end we should have a see where we're at in the standings.
You know, that's a good point because of the way the league's structured, and it's a sprawling league. I know it used to be the East Coast, and they got rid of that because you guys are a lot wider than the East Coast. What is the, so you cluster your games. You'll play like 3 games in 3 days, and you have long bus rides. That's tough for players.
Well, it's going to be tougher for us this year, especially with the new teams that came in our division, with Norfolk and Manchester, and Adirondack now is our division. Last week we had 4 and 5 games. We traveled to Willing, came back, played another game on Friday. It's a lot of travel. Manchester, I believe, is a 6-hour drive, or even longer possibly. Norfolk's at least a 5.5 hour drive. So it's tough because a lot of times we'll be traveling the day of the game. Be on the bus for 5.5 hours, 6 hours, play a game, and then travel back and play maybe on a Saturday again.
It's good the players are young.
Well, yeah, but the coach is old, right? So.
Well, you guys ought to talk to the owner, Jack Galati. You guys need your own plane. Is that a possibility?
Well, that would be nice, actually, real nice.
But I guess you have to sell a few more tickets to make that happen. What has been the formula? And basically, and we'll get into this a little bit more depth later, but you fit guys, which I think is very amazing. You fit guys to fit your system, but the guys keep changing. So you're playing chess with a lot of moving parts.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me to be successful, and I know what you say we'll talk about later at some different time, but is recruiting, I think, is the biggest key for a coach at this level to be successful, to make sure you're bringing the right people, the right character, in the right roles that you need for your team to be successful. The other thing is just making sure everyone's buying into the system and working on it and executing it.
And if they don't, you get rid of them?
And if they don't, you got to get rid of them, right? So but for the most part, I think we've done a good job as an organization is picking the right people and working with those people, making sure they understand. I think it's, we've done it, guys have accepted the roles and understand that this is the best, even though they may not want to play a certain role, it's the best thing for the team, and they understand that. So it's always about the success of the team, not one individual, obviously, and so far, our players have done a really good job for that.
And you usually have a mix of veterans and younger players?
We do. I think it's important to have the right older guys, veteran guys that are there to teach the young guys and show by example and show by experience. But I also think it's important to have a number of young guys that will push the older guys, right? So, usually the older guys have the experience. Their legs may not be as good, but you have the younger guys pushing them to be better. So, like you said, we talked about roles and stuff. It's also important to have age groups and leadership type of guys, and the young guys pushing the older guys to be better.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Larry. Congratulations and continued success. And I know Reading loves a winner, and they've loved you guys. So
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Bye, everybody.